Blessings to you on this, the seventh day of Advent. Reading from the 37th chapter of Genesis. The brothers of Joseph are out in the field, and Joseph comes to him. They said to one another, "Here comes this dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say to the wild animal has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." But when Reuben heard it, he delivered him out of their hand, saying, "Let us not take his life." Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but lay no hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hands and restore him to his father." So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the long robe with sleeves that he wore, and they took him and threw him into the pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat, and looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, with their camels carrying gum, balm, and resin on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Then Judah said to the brothers, "What profit is it if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And his brothers agreed. Then Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit. He tore his clothes. He returned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and I, where can I find him?" Then they took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the blood. They had the long robe with sleeves taken to their father, and they said, "This is what we have found. See now whether it is your son's robe or not." He recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. A wild animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces." Continuing to chapter 45, verse 3. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But his brothers could not answer him, so dismayed were they at his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come closer to me." And they came closer. He said, "I am your brother, Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. And now do not be dismayed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me before you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are 5 more years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant of earth, and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler over all the land of Egypt. Hurry and go up to my father and say to him, 'Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not delay. You shall settle in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near to me, you and your children and your children's children, as well as your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. I will provide for you there, since there are 5 more years of famine to come, so that you and your household and all that you have will not continue to poverty." What an obnoxious brat. Joseph bragging about his dreams and strutting around in his fancy coat. No wonder his brothers wanted to get rid of him. But God uses Joseph in spite of his sin and pride. Joseph's life is not an easy one. It's filled with challenges. But rather than feel sorry for himself, he learns from each downfall. Using God's gift of dreams, Joseph is able to save the people of Egypt and his own family, who are ancestors of Abraham and Sarah. Joseph was stripped of his coat of many colors. Jesus was stripped of his coat without a seam. The bread of Joseph fed people for a time. The bread of Jesus feeds us for eternity. Let us pray. Giving God, you have created us to be family in you. May we serve you with generosity to others so that no one goes hungry or suffers from any need. Teach us to care as Jesus cared. Place the bag of grain on your tree, knowing that we look at something flawed and toss it, while God sees us flawed and works through us as God used Joseph to continue God's plan of salvation.